You and 50 got a beef or something, man? Because first off, tell me the biggest check you've ever got. What's the most money you've ever had at once? Who would you have in your top 5 out of Atlanta?
Oh, shit, man.
Opens it up, he goes, pulls up another drawer.
It might be the motherfucker who goddamn who sold me that contract. The man who knows anything about a woman knows that he knows absolutely nothing at all. Understand that you don't know shit.
All right, we back here, another legendary podcast on the Get Your Ass Up show. I'm sitting here with TIP. Man.
What's going on,
What's going on, bro? First and foremost, thank you for coming to the show.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
I've been super excited about this one since I found out you were in town, man. I was like, I got to get you on my podcast, man. I've been, just a fan of your work since probably 2000, 2001. I'm originally from up north Philly, but moved down to North Carolina, and your sound was completely different. It was kind of like one of them things where for a second it took me like a little adjusting to, because all my teammates was the ones that really was bumping your music.
Okay.
Being in the locker room in football, like TIP was going crazy.
Okay, thank you.
And, I have a lot of respect for what you've been able to do over the years, man. This is the Get Your Ass Up show, so obviously, like, you've overcome a lot of things in your life, from adolescence and listening to some of your music up to even like in adulthood. So I appreciate you taking time to come and share, brother.
Man, my pleasure. I appreciate you for taking the time to listen.
Yeah, man. You got like so many phenomenal things that you've done in your life, man. I'm talking about from not just being a rapper, but taking that rapping into movies, doing it into now comedy. I mean, you've got a lot of check marks under your belt, which shows a lot of talent. And then I know that means a lot of work. So my question to you, first and foremost, as we kick this thing off, I like to ask people about their biggest regret, anything in life. It could be personal, business. What would you say, like, if you had something that you kind of harbor on at night, what's your biggest regret right now?
I think more than anything was letting people talk me out of my vision because they couldn't see it at the same time that I could. A lot of times we all blessed with greatness. All of us are blessed with greatness, and that greatness most times comes to us by way of vision. Things that we see ourselves doing that may seem a little far-fetched and outlandish to others. And when we get those visions, the mistake we most often make is we go to someone else and tell them what that vision is. And based off of their response to that vision, that's how serious we'll take it. And that's how much of our passion and effort we'll put into making that vision a reality. And a lot of times, I just listen to other people when, say, man, you can do it. Nah, what you gonna do? That ain't gonna be, you know what I mean? And that's probably one of my biggest mistakes, and that's probably one of my greatest regrets.
So that's a good response, right? Because like we know, like, in life, typically what happens is you get that amazing idea, you have that dream of doing something special, and people try to talk you out of your talents or your dreams, and they make you think like your ideas are too big.
Most of the time because of what they could not accomplish, or what they can't see themselves doing, because they don't think as much of their capabilities as you may think of yours. They try to impose their limitations, their self-imposed limitations on you.
Right.
Yeah.
So I understand you from Atlanta, man.
Yeah.
Y'all changed the music industry. Really, in the early 2000s, you changed the music. You were a pioneer.
I did my best, but I couldn't. You know what I'm saying? I stand on the shoulders of giants like Outkast, Goody Mob. You know what I mean? I think that I always say, Sammy Sam and Kilo crawled. So Outkast and Goody Mob could walk. So Tip, Jeezy, and Gucci could run. So Thug, Migos, and Future could fly. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's all tethered together. Like all of it is relative. You know,
Right.
every step one generation of Atlanta music took, it enabled for the next generation to take a larger step and achieve greater accomplishments.
You mentioned some really good names there. So I want to, while we talking on Atlanta music, who would you have in your top 5 out of Atlanta?
Oh shit, man. man. You mean like of all times?
Your top 5, you got Mount Rushmore of Atlanta.
Man,
Not Mount Rushmore, but top 5.
You gotta go. I mean, to me, I think Outkast kind of set everything up for everyone else. Rappers, you saying?
Right.
Okay. So you got Outkast. Of course, myself. Future. Thug. How many is that?
That's 4.
All right, cool.
Ooh. Who getting cut? Who you got left?
A lot of motherfuckers, obviously.
But who you got left? Because we got some big names that you have not mentioned yet.
Yeah, I know it. Because see, right now, what I'm trying to think of, are we including Jermaine Dupri as a rapper, or are we keeping him in the lane as a producer? Because he's a polarizing figure.
JD got to be in the rap. He got to be.
Well, if he a rapper, we're gonna have to put him in there because he had a whole lot to do with the culture of the town. You know, as far as shaping and molding the currency.
So your top 5.
Base. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna put it.
I like it.
Yeah, that's
you got some people that's not gonna like that.
I mean, man, you know, it's a lot of people who still, you know what I'm saying? Of course, Lil Baby, he working his way in there. He gonna definitely be a legend of his era. Thug, you know, Savage, and then from my era, you got Ludacris, you got Gucci, Jeezy.
That's what I'm saying. There's some iconic names that come out of Atlanta.
You only gave me 5 in Atlanta, man. Come on, bro. Like for Atlanta, man, we've been running this shit for a long time.
Y'all have.
So to pick 5, just like if you could pick a top 5 from somebody who been running it for 25 years, it's just, you know, it seems a little bit unrealistic. But we did it, you know what I'm saying? We did it.
Hey, yo, so let's talk about, you know, a couple of things. Like, you know, Atlanta's music has been, you know, like definitely like the crunk music. It seemed like drill has now stolen a bit of what crunk was and turned it to a...
Excuse me, man. I'm going to have to answer this, man. This is my old lady, because I'm going to be with that bitch if I don't answer. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Hey, I'm right here shooting a podcast. Let me hit you right back.
Okay, was I supposed to go to the hotel?
Yeah, going to the hotel. Okay. All right, cool.
Yo, that's funny as shit.
She finna run down on me. You see what she said? Hey, where you at? You know.
We're gonna talk a little relationship talk because I got a pretty out loud relationship with my girl.
Okay.
And
when you say loud, what does that mean?
I mean we like to express our love.
Okay.
Openly to the public. So we've become like one of the new couples that we get a lot of love.
For real?
Yeah, my girl's a fashion designer.
Okay.
Nicole Linnell, she's a black designer out of LA. Yeah, and we just, you know, she had a really, really dope story, and we just connected well. So I definitely want to. I don't want to jump off a couple of topics because there's some shit that we got to get back to. But yeah, man, I know just the relationship piece, man, is something that you guys obviously have had a relationship that has been on TV for so many years. What type of challenges do you have as a celebrity balancing that relationship and in the public's eye, because like I feel like I know y'all damn near for what I've seen over so much time. Obviously, we don't get to see everything, but like you
Right.
know, people start feeling like they know you.
This is true.
Based off what they're able to see off TV. So,
Yeah.
how does that impact your relationship with your wife through the years? Any impact or?
I mean, I think, it's impacted the way all relationships are impacted when you got outside influences. You know what I mean? You got to keep people out your business. And I think that is the greatest challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of things she and I could deal with internally between the two of us. But once you have the influence of outsiders, now it's not just about how you feel. It's about how you feel other people feel. And I think that's, that's always challenging and complicated. But we've been fortunate enough and I guess we found the strength and the maturity and developed the how can I say, the communication skills. Mm-hmm. Communication is key. You could talk about anything. If you could talk about anything, and the problem ain't the problem. The lack of a solution is the problem. So any problem we have, get to the root of it, find the solution, and we could push on as long as it ain't other people outside of our relationship.
Right.
Because some people, man, they benefit from you and your old lady being in turmoil. You know what I'm saying? She might have homegirls that when y'all in turmoil, shit, they go out and, they have all kinds of fun that they wouldn't be having if y'all was on good terms.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And same thing for me. You know what I mean? So you have outside entities that continue to contribute to the confusion that exists in your relationship. If you could just step back, have quiet moments, and just notice the difference. Mm-hmm. Just notice the difference of how problems are worked out when it's just y'all versus how problems are worked out when you have other people just offering input unnecessarily.
I can respect that, man. I like asking people who like, bro, you done been through so much, and with having like that public light on your relationship, just understanding like, I want to know, man, how the hell do you deal with going through the bullshit? What's the, as a man, we go through, so many different situations with our women. Like, when do you decide, like, what's enough? How do you properly communicate? Just some of the things that somebody would experience. I love asking somebody with the experience in certain situations, definitely been in that shit. What how you handle it?
Man, bro, for one, no one has the answer. That's the first thing. The man who knows anything about a woman knows that he knows absolutely nothing at all. You dig what I'm saying? So that's the first step. Understanding you don't know shit. Give a damn what you think you know. You don't know nothing. As soon as you think you got it figured out, there goes something else. So, but you must understand that whatever you're going through is worth it. Mm-hmm. It's worth it for the peace and the love and the sanctity of your household. Whatever lengths you have to go to, it's worth it. So that's how I rock. I think that relationships have been kind of compartmentalized by society to only mean a few things. You know what I mean? But a relationship is a partnership, okay? Which means where I'm strong, I can compensate for your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. Where you strong, you can compensate for my weaknesses. The things I know should benefit you. The things you know should benefit me. The things I do, you should be celebrating. The things you do, I should be celebrating. But instead, it became somewhat of a competition between men and women. And, I honestly believe that there's a conspiracy to break down the black household. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. But, I just feel like, I give you an example. This is the way I feel society, how it prods and interferes with relationships. Let's just imagine if you and your old lady, You go to a car lot, and you going to buy a car.
Mm-hmm.
But your old lady don't know nothing about cars. And she asks you to go with her because she don't know nothing about cars. She wants you to deal with it to make sure she don't get taken advantage of because she don't know nothing about cars. And now when you get to the car lot, you get out the car, you walk up, and then all of a sudden some fast-talking car salesman comes up to you and your old lady. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. I got this I want to show you up there. And you stop him. Hey, look. Don't talk to her about nothing. I'm dealing with it. I'm the person you need to speak to. Show me the cars. And right then he say, oh man, why you got to talk for her? Why she can't talk for herself? You don't trust her to make no decision? Why you, and before you can say anything, now here she is like, yeah, why can't I talk? Why you don't want me to? And now he done walked her over there to make the decision and she done got herself fucked over. That is how I feel society is playing on relationships right now.
Hey, you know the funny part is I used to be a car salesperson. And you and my favorite line was, you know, we would have a husband and a spouse, and people always use the other party as the excuse.
Right.
So I used to always pit them against you. What if she tell you no? What if he told you no?
Right.
What you gonna do then?
That's what society is doing to every relationship right now. Every single one of them, you know what I mean? By whether it's you gonna let your old lady make more money than you don't feel, or either you gonna take him back after you caught him with, you know what I mean? It just twisting the knife of all complications that arise in a relationship, and it inevitably tears the majority of people apart.
Man, y'all been strong as hell though, because I ain't gonna lie, man. Y'all been tested so much to just what's been posted in the public, and
a lot of that shit don't be, you know what I mean? A lot of that shit don't be half as much as is perceived. You know what I mean? A lot of it is for real. This shit like being in the car on a road trip, trees in the window as they pass by. That shit don't be about nothing, you know. But it's made to be so big. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely with your name, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know, when I see your name, you know, anything that happens with you at all, you know, is going on every blog, and
people's perception of you will always be bigger in their mind than it is to you. But I always say, man, I can't let their fantasy overrule my reality.
right. All right, so I like getting in the mind of people that have had amazing success. Definitely like this type of you. You've done some amazing stuff, man. And when I think back at hearing some of your earlier albums, I hear you talk about, you know, the street life and overcoming. Like now you've overcome like the street life, and you've overcome like a lot of death and ugliness around your life, man. Creatively, I always want to know creatively, like how do you really program yourself to not get stuck in that box of your environment, right? Our environments, like typically, they're so toxic, and it seems like we talked about earlier, people will try to talk you out of your dream, talk you out of your things, and then in addition to that, you have environmental things happening around you that can pull you back into, you know, a trap of being, you know, either dead or in prison or something of that nature. How did you get your mind to really just stay focused on becoming this superstar that you become?
Well, to be honest with you, it wasn't that hard for me because unlike most, like, okay, most people were hustlers first. You know what I mean? It was like they were street niggas first,
Right.
and then they became rappers later. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for me, I was a rapper first. I always knew that this is what I wanted to do. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I was like that's when I was young. When Crisscross came out, I wanted to be that. You know what I'm saying? I was going back and forth to the studio, 12, 13 years old.
Oh wow.
Writing my own music, you know, freestyling at the cafeteria table. Like that was my dream. So I made a demo around 93, you know, I was 13, 14, you know what I'm saying? I was speaking too raw for real, and that didn't work. So then I tried it again around 14, 15, traveled to New York and made another demo, and that didn't work. So then I dove in the streets. You know what I mean? And that's when I started trapping and hustling and doing all that because I let my dream go. So through the course of that, I ran into my cousin introduced me to DJ Toon. He caught me trapping. I was trying to get some work from him. And he was like, nah, man, don't you rap? I was like, yeah, but you know, I'm doing this right now.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, I'm not gonna fuck with you on that. What I will do is I'm gonna try and put you in front of some people who can help you. So then me and Toon, you know, we started working together. I'm still one foot in, one foot out at that point. And I was already on probation. I had caught a dope case already. So I was already on probation. And they gave me an ultimatum. My cousin Toot, who's no longer with us, DJ Toomp, and Jason Jeter. They gave me an ultimatum. They said, hey man, listen, we're not gonna keep putting our money into this, and we're not gonna keep just wasting our time with it if you are doing things that can make it all go away. You know, if somebody pull up on you and, you know, you got dope on you, you gone because you already on probation. I said, okay, I tell you what, because this was right after I found out I was about to have my first child. So I said, hey, listen, I tell you what, take me somewhere where I have a real shot. Show me something real. You show me something real, I let it go. And, you know, of course, everybody in the room was like, man, how you gonna just say that? You know, that's not realistic. And Jason raised his hand and said, I know a place. And so he took me to Patchwork Studios that night. He called him, he said, hey, man, he knew that PA, Parental Advisory, was working on an album. And for this album, they wanted to have like a lot of new talent. They was comparing it like the Southern version of the Chronic, you know. They wanted to have a lot of new talent from the South and from Atlanta on there. And Jason hit him. And he was like, yo, I got somebody you ain't never heard. It's tighter than whoever you fucking with. Right. And so they said, bring them through. So I went and they introduced themselves. It was Reese and Mello. They introduced themselves and they just hit the drum machine. Can you rap on this? Of course I'm arrogant, you know. I'm like, man, where the booth at? So I go in the booth, one take it, and they like, oh shit, where you been? I'm like, man, I've been riding my bike up and down Bankhead all day. And so from that moment, the third member of PA was KP, Kawan Prather. He was an A&R at LaFace who had just A&R'd Usher's My Way. I think he was the one who introduced or who suggested for Usher to get with JD. And, you know, so that success.
No, huge.
Yeah, that success lended him the opportunity to have his own imprint under LaFace, Ghetto Vision. He just signed the Young Bloods, and then he said he wanted to sign me. And long story short, he took me to LA 1999, went to the Source Awards my first time. And I had some, of course, you know, you're going out of town. I had to hustle up a bankroll to get there. Or at least, you know what I'm saying, just for me to live how I wanted to live, you know what I mean, present myself in the fashion that I wanted to be presented. So what I did was I had a 4.5 and two, I had a 4.5. So I 2.25, I went on, sold that, put that money in my pocket and left the other 2.25, you know, stashed so when I came back I could re-up. So I go to LA and this is a trip where, you know, Outkast, Goody Mob, Witch Doctor, you got Organized Noise, Young Bloods, you know, everybody was out there. And as soon as KP introduced me, they was like, yo, who it is? Where you from? Like, man, I'm from Atlanta. Nah, man, where you from? Like, man, I'm from Bankhead, Baker Road, Center Hill. And then T-Mo was like, well, I'm from Church Street. I was like, all right, yeah. And so we immediately bonded. Like, man, that boy from the town for real. And I remember I had an opportunity to freestyle on the tour bus with CeeLo and I think Stax. It was the Rap City with Big Liz and Joe Clapp.
Back in the day, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of motherfuckers were shying away from me. Like, man, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let's crank up. Like, how y'all do it? And a lot of motherfuckers were like, man, I ain't finna rap. I jumped straight in. And that was, we was there for the Source Awards, and they were performing. They were doing Watch for the Hook, which was Cool Breeze's record. But it had everybody on there. And if anybody ever been to award shows, if you performing, the day before, they got to do what they call a camera blocking. It shows the cameras where everybody's gonna be at what part of the song. So it was that time, but Cool Breeze wasn't there. Cause he ain't fly. He was driving from Atlanta to LA. So he wasn't gonna make that. So they like, man, we need somebody for Cool Breeze part. Who know Cool Breeze part? I'm like, shit, I know it. Give me the mic. I'll do it. So I got to stand on stage and rap with Outkast, Goody Mob, and everybody else who was on that song doing Cool Breeze part. I saw I was so close to my dream. When I came back home, I gave that dope away. I ain't never touch it. I ain't never touched no dope. I ain't want it. You know what I mean? Because I knew how much I had been praying and working and striving to get to this place.
Right.
And now that I had gotten there, I never wanted to compromise my blessing. So that ain't nothing that was a real tough decision for me.
That's deep. Hey, listen, so you got that. First off, it's inspiring, right? Because you taking leaps of faith, but you still like kind of half in, half out. But you like, hey, look, you know, I'm prepared to let this go, to have a better life. So now
I had no interest. I didn't want to do it. It just didn't feel like it didn't like, you know, when we hustling and shit, you know what I'm saying? That shit feel like we doing something, like we feel like accomplished. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know, you come off E, you start at 100 slab or a quarter ounce and you work your way up to a 9 or whatever. That shit just feel like you've accomplished something. And the money, it feels prosperous. But when I got back from that trip, that shit didn't feel like prosperity no more. You know what I mean? Even though I know that activity, it enabled me to get out there and present myself the way I wanted to present myself, but it just didn't feel like prosperity like it did before I had an opportunity or saw that I had an opportunity to do what I love. It just didn't feel like I was doing nothing big no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, out here, that's big. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I just I stuck with what I started with. But I didn't start on the streets. I started
Rapping.
with the rap shit. So I was able, now, luckily enough, because it didn't happen when I wanted it to happen, I was able to experience some things that would later become what we now know as trap music.
Right. Change the game with it.
Well,
You definitely changed the game with trap music, man.
with the help of others.
I love the humbleness, but you had some distinct music that dropped that everybody in the country knows. Like Tip really set it on fire. You had had the South basically versus New York.
I don't know about that.
Man, no, what's that? 2002, 3 and shit.
Well, trap music came out October 19th, 2003.
2003, yeah. I'm telling you, I just remember because even being in school, you know, I'm in college at the time, and what you would hear would be the up north guys versus the down south guys, and you sit in the locker room and you would hear distinct difference in what music is being played, and if you ever sit in the locker room, it's going to always be an argument over, hey, what's on the radio, and you really had a huge impression on so many people, definitely down south. I mean, they put me on. Like that's what I'm saying. Like my teammates put me. I was like, man, I'm not listening to this shit, man. Like it took time for me to, you know, for it to grow on me.
You know, that's something that we are always kind of, I guess, incoherently we're confined within our, I guess, what we're used to. You know, our familiarity to certain things. just like, you know what I'm saying, when I was traveling back and forth from Atlanta to New York every summer, you know, I was taking Outkast and UGK and Goody Mob CDs up to them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and of course, you know, they rejecting it. But I was kind of receptive. I always wanted to hear
Okay.
what New York had going on. I always wanted to hear it. Like I loved Brand Nubians, motherfucking. I loved man, everybody from Main Source to man. I remember the first year I heard Craig Mack. Just all kinds of just shit. You know what I'm saying? Like Tribe Called Quest. You know, all that shit just it intrigued me. From the Ron G and DJ Clue CD, I mean, tapes, mixtapes.
Right, yeah.
Like that shit intrigued me. I was just interested because we wasn't getting music in abundance like that in Atlanta.
Right.
Like how many different flavors and styles and how many different people, Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, like all that shit. Like it wasn't the selection wasn't as robust
Right.
in the South as it was up there. At least, you know, it wasn't made, we didn't have a place where it was made available to us. So I was interested. And we'll always get to fighting, you know what I'm saying? You know, I remember I got to fighting because somebody was saying Master P won this and that. I was like, man, come. And so we ended up getting to fight. And after the fight, you know, it's always respect, you know what I'm saying? Respect come after that. And it's like, you know, and then the next year I came, they was like, man, you told us about that Master P motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Because that went, that very next year was when him, I believe, Russell Simmons, it was Master P, Russell Simmons, somebody on the cover of The Source.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I believe it might have been Puff. I don't remember. But that's when they knew he was like a $300-400 million man.
Right.
And so they remembered, hey man, he was trying to tell us. You know what I'm saying? So I think that once we break away from what we feel like we used to and just kind of, you know, absorb or submerge ourselves in other cultures, then that's when we become the diverse individuals that we would put here to be.
Yeah, that's one of the things though, because like I was originally from North Philly, so we listened to a different sound of music, and
Right.
then like going down to the South, I'm listening to like, you know, this whole different type of music, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck are y'all listening to? And then after a while, it gets, you know, you hear it enough, and then it gets catchy. Then you like, next thing you know that shit word for word.
It's infectious.
Yeah. Let me ask you about just like, you know, you've been able to grow so much from where you started off as an artist, where you kind of had to hustle and you had to, you know, be a storyteller. Right now, what we're seeing is a lot of people are now, you know, even having lyrics being used against them and
Sure.
and in cases and things of that nature. First off, I want to know, like, what do you think the influence of, like, you know, on the culture when we start talking about rapping and talking about, you know, whether it's drug life, gang life, murder.
Yeah.
What type of impact do you think that has over long term? Do you think like the music you created 20 years ago has had a negative effect on the youth and the community?
Well, first of all, I think it's very important to point out nature's law says there can be no up without down, no left without right, no bad without good. So just as certain as I am that some good has become of it, I know there has to be some bad to come of it as well. But that goes for any and every other form of entertainment. You know, that go for film.
Right.
That go for video games. You know, we can't just bear the brunt of all of the negative impacts that has been placed on society. You can't just place that all on rap music. Rock and roll motherfuckers say some crazy shit. Shit, Johnny Cash said he was gonna kill some people. You know, you got people who sing country motherfuckers say, you sleep with my people, I'm gonna do something to you and all that. And that's men and women.
Right.
I cannot say that the impact coming from this music has had more of an effect than any of these other things. I can't say that. What I will say is, when we were put in those environments, because we were placed there.
Right.
You know what I mean? We were placed in them environments. Then nobody just happened to end up in the ghetto. There was some matters beyond the control of our parents and grandparents that kept us where we were. And you add that with the efforts of, I guess, the government with the Contra scandal, the war on drugs. You know, you take a bunch of dope from Nicaragua and you somehow teach people how to cook crack. You put it in these communities. You know what I mean? Then you adjust the laws to where if you get caught with crack, you get 100 more times the time than if you get caught with powder. Okay, so basically, that was made to exterminate us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So we basically are refugees of a war that was waged on our people. We had nothing to do. Like, we were just born in this shit. It ain't like we could have, we could have avoided it if we wanted to.
Right.
We were born in it. And if you are a survivor of that, man, if you can show how you took what the devil meant to use as bad and shape it into what God means to use for good, that to me is a testimony. That's just like if I'm an alcoholic and I've been drinking nonstop 20, 25 years. And by the grace of God, I'm able to quit, walk away, never have a sip again. I'm still able to tell you how it feels to be drunk. I can still tell you vividly, in great detail, how it feels waking up in vomit. I can tell you how it affected my family. I can tell you all of these things with a sort of authenticity that other people may not be able to speak. Mm-hmm. That don't mean I'm telling people to go out there and get drunk.
Right.
And that people shouldn't tell me that I don't have the right to say it because I earned that right. I made it through. Mm-hmm. And I got past it. And other people seeing what I made it through and what I got past should motivate them to be able to do the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, will some people listen to me talk, go out there, get drunk, maybe have a DUI? I don't know. But guess what? That's their journey.
Right.
That ain't really got nothing to do with my testimony. That's kind of how I see rap music, trap music.
So I think like one of the things that I'm a huge fan of rap music, right? And I'm, I got two younger boys, man. I got a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old. And, when you listen to what your kids listen to is when you kind of get nervous. Mm. Like when I hear, like, I know what I listen to, but I'm an adult. But then I would like just catch what some of the shit that I hear my sons listen to. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah.
Like the music has gotten so disrespectful. Definitely with drill in the terms and context of, whether we got ops now, everybody want to have ops, and everybody's sliding and killing each other.
Where do you think that came from? Even the term op. Where do you think that came from?
It wasn't created by us, but
video games.
Yeah,
this shit came video game, Call of Duty. So it's not just the music. This is a reflection of society at large. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That violence has been pushed in all forms of entertainment. America is the place where you can get a gun before you can get a GED. Mm. America is the place. I don't want to just feel like drill music, or I want to make it seem like drill music, trap music, or any other forms of music is the sole proprietor of violence in America. Mm-hmm. Man, I believe that, people kind of are influenced, but people gonna be influenced regardless whether they heard that song or not. Mm-hmm. They was already finna get up and do whatever it was they were gonna do because There are other things. Let's say before drill music, you had gangster rap, and they said that was tethered to the gang violence in L.A. The gang violence comes from a sense of hopelessness and desperation. That's why gangs were formed. Because you had a bunch of people in a poverty-stricken area, and there was, let's say, 10,000 people in an area where there was only 1,000 people worth of opportunity. So those other 9,000 people had to get it how they live. That's the reason for gang violence. If someone killed my uncle when I was a kid, and I remember the pain that came from that, then I grew up and I'm a grown man, I'm a teenager, I'm old enough, and I see the person that did that, I remember that pain. So then I want to go and reciprocate that with more pain.
Right.
Which is it logical? It's emotional. But that comes from being in this environment.
Yeah, I think our culture is extremely emotional. I think that we make a lot of rash decisions, and I think now we gotta, like it's a rampage on how a lot of this stuff is going down. I know we got to wrap here in a second, so I got a couple just quick things I want to ask you.
Cool.
First and foremost, there's been, obviously, like I met you about 1.5 years ago in the studio with Young Thug.
Yeah.
They've been hit with, obviously the RICO case where, it seems like now there's other pending, arrests at any point that the DA has now announced. Just in your opinion, when you look at like the industry in Atlanta, more in particular, where Atlanta has become such a huge base for the culture of rap, but that's where you're seeing some of these RICO cases taking place. Do you feel like
they say they got something coming in Philly too?
Right, absolutely.
That what they say?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Yeah.
I say we just pray for the best, man. It's always the worst at first.
Let me finish that. Do you think that the rap culture with what's happening right now is now going to be kind of tarnished on what it's been over the years of being able to, whether you tell them the truth or not, to be able to say what you want to without the threat of having some sort of retaliation from the prosecutors?
It's something that we've been dealing with for years. In my case, they use, my songs. Mm-hmm. They read my songs out in my bond hearings as well. I think...
You wasn't fucking around.
I mean, but look, bro, to be honest with you, if a case is strong and a person really did what you said they did, you don't need no lyrics. Mm-hmm. If you need lyrics, to me, tell me you ain't got shit. That's how I feel.
Right.
Now, that's just my personal opinion. I believe in freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And I just believe in going by the Constitution. You did? Just go by the Constitution if you can't do nothing else. Like right now, what I feel like is being done, people are trying to find excuses and reasons to deviate from the Constitution. When if this is supposed to be the guide, stick to the guide. Mm-hmm. Innocent to proven guilty. I just feel like, what I'm saying, we're getting real loose with it. And it's a slippery slope. Mm-hmm. If you start there, we don't know where you end up.
My next thing, you and 50 got a beef or something, man? Because I seen a post today where they were saying that you were supposed to be in, I guess one of the power, what's the name? I guess two of the stars, actors on the show said that you were actually supposed to be on the show, and then they replaced you with Method Man, and they weren't expecting it or something.
No, that's not true. 50 and I, we were executive producers on a different show outside of the Power universe. But nah, man, me and 50 cool. We just, I think I'm the only one who's not offended by his brass approach, and he's not offended by mine. So, we play rough, but we ain't no issue. It's a mutual respect, though.
Hey, we still waiting on that last album too.
Yeah, it's coming.
You know,
It's coming.
I know a lot of people were like, man, we ain't heard him speaking on it in a minute, but
Yeah, it's coming.
how long we waiting? Next year, this year?
You know, man, I think let the record show I'm ready to drop right now. I got enough music to drop right now. You know what I mean? However, I just want to be able to dedicate the time and give it the attention that it deserves. And I got so much other stuff going on,
Right.
I ain't finna stop it right now. The momentum that I have received from other areas of my life, whether that's real estate development, comedy, film and television, like it's just other things that I have going on, you know, I'm just focusing my attention in those areas. However, the music is there. I just got to figure out when I want to take the time out to give it the attention to actually put the shit out.
Yeah, I hate that you gotta go because I got a couple more joints for you, but I ain't gonna hold you, man, because I know you gotta go and do a show tonight.
But I appreciate the time, though. This was cool.
I definitely appreciate you sitting down with me. One last thing, you've dominated in the music industry. You've excelled at acting. You've had a reality TV show. You've got real estate businesses that I think you don't talk about enough or people don't know enough about. I think that's something I would like to hear more about.
It's good that they don't know enough about it.
What the hell made you decide that you wanted to do comedy? Because you know that's a from what we've seen from you for so many years, and obviously like you've been a phenomenal actor, but it just seems so like you're just putting yourself in the deep end of something completely different out of your niche.
I mean, I don't know who created my niche. I don't know who told me that I had a niche that I had to stick to. And I never knew that I was in a niche until I did comedy and people were like, oh, what you doing over here? You dig? Mm-hmm. But as far as what got me into comedy, I never planned on it. I just got threw on stage one day. I went to visit my partner, and now mind you, let me say before that, I've been a fan of comedy, been supporting comedy for 20-some years, you know what I'm saying? I've been in the comedy clubs, and a lot of my friends are comedians, whether it's Mike Epps, Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, K-Dub, Lil Duval. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of homeboys and partners and homegirls, too, that are comedians. And it always seemed like we just, you know, our conversations are a lot more intriguing, you know, than I guess when I talk to other people. So it's always been a love and a respect though. Now I'm visiting my partner, this was January 12th, maybe 32 weeks ago, January 12th. I'm visiting my partner, he doing an open mic night at a club, and I walk in, see him, greet him, look on stage, and there's a guy up there, and he's having a horrible go of it. He's just doing bad. Not, you know, crowd not into him, but he's on stage still. And me and K-Dub, we agreed that he's not doing well, but we disagreed as to why, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, no, it's because of this. And he's like, nah, man, the reason he losing them because of that. And I'm going back and forth with him, and he look at me and say, well, when you gonna get on stage then? I say, man, I ain't really got, you know what I'm saying? That ain't really what I planned to do for real. And when he went up there and got the mic from that guy and introduced, coming up next to the stage, whether he knows it or not.
Oh, shit.
Tip Harris. I said, huh? And I was finna say, man, yeah, quit playing. But they started clapping so loud, you know, like they was excited.
Yeah.
And so from my seat to the stage, I had to think of something. And so I just went up there and shit, pretty much freestyled for 35 minutes. And after I got that first laugh, like,
you got a rush out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because once I got the first laugh, it's like, okay, well, shit, I got to get another one. And then when it's time to get off, I'm like, well, I can't end until I get a big one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, you know, I was with my old lady, and she when I got out, she say, how did you do that? You didn't know you was, I say, nah, I'm just talking. And she said, man, you need to keep doing that.
That's what's up.
And, you know, K-Dub was like, yeah, bro, you probably should come back.
I'm gonna come check you out tonight. My last and final question, and we done. T.I.P. Who better? Now,
Better at what?
who's the best rapper? T.I.
Who's
T.I.P.,
the best
man.
rapper? To me, I think they kind of agreed to disagree. You know what I'm saying? They kind of found a way to work together. You know, prison will do that to you.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. But last night went well.
Yeah, it went real well. It did. Yep.
How are you with nerves in comparison to like going and performing as a rapper?
I have no nerves as a rapper. There's nothing I already know is going to go well.
So how is it in difference in comparison as a comedian?
I mean, I just got to make sure that I deliver what I intend to deliver. You know what I'm saying? Before I step out, there's a conversation or there's a chronological order of the discussion that, you know, I just need to make sure that it goes that way. Because once you get out on stage, you know, when shit happens, you never can tell. It might be redirected or diverted just based on, like, if somebody say something in the crowd and you address that, I may kind of pivot and be on some other shit. So just to make sure that I convey all the messages that I have in my mind before I'll convey all the messages I intend to convey. And most of the time I do. Sometimes I don't.
It's scarier though, right?
I mean, man, you know, I don't operate in fear.
I'm just not actual fear, but like you said, you have like this confidence in knowing when you go and perform
Sure.
as an artist, you know, in your rap career, one way, right? You got extreme confidence. It's been, you know, you've done it a million times, but walking onto a stage by yourself in a different capacity where it's
Still.
same, no nerves, no.
I ain't say there's no nerves. There's a bit of anxiety because, like I said, I got to make sure that the things I have on my mind now, that I make sure it all makes its way out to the crowd, you know, when I hit the stage. So that's not necessarily fear. It's more preparation. It's more like I have to make sure that I am more prepared. You know what I mean? I think about it more.
Right.
I think about it a little more in comedy. But music, that sure will do itself.
Right.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
The songs is the songs. I get out there, I can damn near let the crowd say most of it. And that's the beauty of music. Because when people come to your shows already knowing your songs. They know what song they want to hear you say. So when you put the motherfucker on, it's like, oh, that's what I wanted to hear. And there's an automatic energy there, you know. And with comedy, it's like, I don't know if I'm going to find what you saying funny. You got to say it first. It's instant return on your application of skill. Like it's almost like taking a test and get it graded immediately. You did.
Right.
You gonna know whether they like that shit or not immediately.
So, who inspired you in the comedian world? Like, what type of artists have you, whether old school or current day?
Bro, to be honest with you, I have admiration and respect for so many comedians. All of the Ha Ha Mafia, K-Dub, Erica Duchess, Ronnie Jordan, Tyler Chronicles, Nav Green, Jay Ski, you know what I mean? All of them extreme inspirations. DC Young Fly, Carlos.
Carlos, that's my man.
Yeah. Mike Epps, Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle, like Kevin Hart. You know what I mean? Bruce, Earthquake.
You going back to the
Donnell-
old,
Donnell
what was
Riley.
that back in the day, BET Comic View days? I
Yeah,
had
I'm
a lot
just
of Comic
saying, but
View
like
names,
the Tony Roberts. You know what I mean? Like these is motherfuckers who kill it. Bill Bellamy. You know what I mean? Like these are motherfuckers who, you know, D.L. Hughley, Sid the Entertainer, Bernie Mac, Robin Harris.
So you respect the game.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always have.
Yeah.
Always have. Nod Holston, Lil Duval. You know what I mean? It's a gang of cats that I look up to, that I like really admire their craft. And it's certain people you could never go up there and do that shit the way they do it.
Right.
Like Bruce. You can't go
Yeah,
up
he's
there and do that
hilarious,
shit
man.
like
Yeah.
him. I don't give a damn. K-Dub, you can't go up there and do it like him. Lil Duval, DC Young Fly, you know what I mean? Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart. You can't go up there and do that shit like them.
Mm-hmm.
You can practice and try. You can do what you intend to do, but you can't go up there and do that shit like them. And, you know, that authenticity is what makes it special.
Right.
I mean, it's not just what they saying. It's the fact that it's coming from them and nobody else can say it in such a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I respect that.
Yeah, so that I knew that, you know, from obviously being a rapper and jumping into that field, that it was going to be a big challenge for, you know, obviously like going from one place where you know the music is going to deliver every single time to having to walk into a room and now you're having to make sure you deliver every single time and on the spot damn near, like you said. So
I love it.
Yeah, that's dope. I'm definitely coming to check you out tonight.
I love it because when I go out there, bro, the look on people's faces, like the amazement, just kind of like the I guess wanderlust. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe this nigga's up here doing it. You know what I mean? Damn. You know what I mean? And I'll never get that look in music ever again. You know what I mean? Like once you have shown you could create a dope song, you can create a classic album, you can have a platinum album, you can have a multi-platinum album, you can come back to back. You like there's nothing else. Like, okay, Tip putting out an album. Psst, okay, it's gonna be good. Oh, you know what I mean?
They still waiting on it.
I mean, but what I'm saying is, but you already expect it to be good.
Right.
You expect it to be good. And if it's great, it's like, yeah, well, that's kind of what we expected. It's a little bit more difficult to shock the audience because they're already used to you doing well. You have to go somewhere where people expect you to fail. And all indications of failing are imminent. And go in there and prevail and succeed. And that's what I get with comedy.
That's what's up. All right, so another thing I want to really ask you a few questions about, just like is like investments and business strategy. What, you know, you've obviously come into a lot of money over your years.
More than some, less than others.
So a lot of money you come. when you get, first off, when you get, you know, that big bag, what would you say was like probably one of the worst things that you blew money on? You know, because everybody has that story like, damn, I shouldn't have bought something, or
Which big bag?
any bag. I mean, you've been doing it for a long time.
Let's name a number.
First off, tell me the biggest check you've ever got. What's the most money you've ever had at once?
What you mean? The most money I've ever had at once, as far as one paycheck?
One paycheck, yeah.
I think, I don't know, 26 million maybe, something like that.
What'd it feel like?
Felt like 26 million. Nah, but to be honest with you, man, it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to maintain, manage, because getting the money ain't half as challenging as keeping it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I walked around with a $10 million check in my wallet for like a year. I didn't want to cash it.
Felt good, or you just
I just didn't want to cash it. I like, cause for one, I ain't need it. I was still getting show money. Like it was just a lump sum, and that's another thing. Like I've gotten big checks, but I already had money already, so I just added this with that. Neither here nor there. I think that man, 8-figure checks feel like the devil could potentially pull you under. You know what I mean? That shit just feel like it's a lot of scrutiny, it's a lot of people because people are after this.
right.
This is what everybody wants. I'm holding it right here in my hand. It got my name on it. This is what everybody wants. Motherfucker would tear my head off for this. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So now that I have it, you can only have as much as you can protect. So it feels like a lot of responsibility.
It feel good to have that responsibility though.
It feel better than being broke. I tell you that. But it's still like, I wish everybody could get money. Everybody could get $10 million so they could see how much money don't matter unless you ain't got it.
I was about to say, man, that shit matters though.
Unless you ain't got it, money is an instrument. It's a tool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you use money to do things that would generate more opportunity.
1000%.
To get more money. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of us have been taught to use money as a tool to boost and stroke and kind of fan the flames of the ego. Myself included. I ain't trying to exclude myself. Me too. But money is a tool. People use money to get more money. People use money to get more peace. People use money to get more security for themselves and their family. And if you just using it for vanity purposes, that shit it'll be gone before you know it.
So obviously, like I've been in that position where I didn't have it, and now I'm in a position where I got it, and it's significantly less
How'd
pressure.
you get it?
Real estate.
Okay.
Yeah. So and that's one of the cool. I'm glad you asked me that because one of the things I wanted to ask you about was real estate, but just through the years, a lot of us have been told traditionally real estate, you got to have a bunch of money, you got to have great credit, you got to have clean background, you got to have a license. So it was all these barriers for many people to think that they had to get nothing.
You gotta have nothing but some money
and some knowledge, and once you have the knowledge,
that'll help.
Yeah.
But even if I've seen motherfuckers who had no knowledge and just knew a good deal, just took a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was selling, I think it might have been, I don't know, let's call it 30, 40 acres out in Carolina or somewhere in Tennessee somewhere. And my partner, he had a little money. He was from the life. He had a little money put up. And he didn't know, anything about real estate.
Right.
No knowledge of whatever. He just thought it was a good deal. He was like, man, shit, this the same. If I could buy 30 acres for the same amount that I could buy a car for, I'm gonna take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, them 30 acres, the motherfucking I think it's either a Ford plant or a GM plant was built shortly thereafter, not far away. He trying to figure out how to develop on that land right now that he didn't pay. He just paid some fuck up in the club money. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he had no idea. He just took a shot. So if you have an opportunity to buy land, a patch of dirt, I don't give a damn. First of all, if you holding your money in the bank is making money off your money and ain't giving you shit for it.
Facts.
The bank is playing the market and they making money off your money and ain't giving you nothing for it. So rather than keep all your money in the bank, to me, what I have found to be more valuable, take a lump sum and put it in a piece of property. You could put it in I don't give a damn if it's a commercial piece, a residential piece. It could just be a patch of grass. If you let that shit sit for 6 months or a year, guarantee you it will appreciate more than it would have in the bank.
Absolutely.
So, I mean,
That's great advice. Like one of the things, what I did is I started teaching people how to wholesale. Wholesaling is what I call the pawn shop of real estate. Essentially, you're being the middleman, and we play the middleman so well in our community. I say, hey, let's teach people how to be the middleman in a different capacity where you can actually do it legally, not have to look over your back. You know, at the end of the day,
Right.
and make good money.
right.
So wholesaling is what like really took and built even my brand that I have today to the level it's at. Over the last couple of years, definitely during the pandemic, I created a program called Rona Proof. Rona Proof was literally a virtual wholesale program teaching you how to play the middleman from home, flipping real estate contracts. So now you don't need a license, no experience, no background, and you could get
You just buying the contract.
you putting you actually finding distressed sellers, right? So I always say the pawn shop, right? Who goes to the
I
pawn
love
shop?
distressed sellers.
Yeah, distressed seller is exactly what
Foreclosures and so on.
pre-foreclosures,
Yeah.
tax delinquency, people that
Before it hit the courthouse.
before it
steps.
hits exactly
Right.
right. You want to go directly to the seller.
Right.
We're basically now going to play the middleman. So what I do is I teach people how to go find the distressed seller, play the middleman, and then put that property under contract, and then sell the paper for more money to a back end investor.
Yeah.
So now you don't even have
I've
to get.
actually bought a contract before.
So you've played you played the wholesale game.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't know. I just wanted the property. It was
right.
under contract. And the person who had it under contract, I was like, man, let me just give you a little bit more than you got it under contract.
That's a wholesale
I
transaction.
don't think that was his intention.
Right.
But I was like, let me, just cash out, make a quick 100,000 right quick.
Yeah. So that's the cool part. I had a young kid in Atlanta, 21 years old, made 96 grand playing the middleman.
It might be the motherfucker who goddamn who sold me that contract.
but that's the reality is what wholesalers do is they play the game of marketing. You're gonna just get in contact and reach out to all these people that you know are distressed, and you find just the one person that's gonna be like, yeah, I'm willing to do business. You put it on the contract, sell it for more money. And what I found is that was giving people a entryway into real estate, something that for years has made it where there were so many barriers in our mind of how we would get into the business. I'm like,
I
hey,
can't even lie. I've always known people buying like houses and buildings and like, even when my uncles was in the dope game, like that was the main thing that they were just putting their money together, buying houses, buying automotive shops, buying, like that was kind of something that my pops, he owned a candy store and an apartment building in Harlem. So I just kind of already knew that when you get money, the natural evolution is to buy property.
right.
But even though I knew that, I didn't practice it until my uncle kind of nudged me and, he kind of like, basically told me, man, give me 20,000. I was like, man, and I just got a check for 60. Like, give me 20,000 before you fuck it up. I'm like, man, fuck. And he was just getting out of jail and shit. He was just getting out of prison. And, he had visions and shit. And this is my uncle, like, like really, like my mentor,
Right.
if you will. So Of course I gave it to him. And of course I fucked the other 40 up. But later on, he rode me down the street and pointed at a house that looked familiar to me. And then as I looked at it close, I was like, yeah, I know that house. I used to sell dope out of there. That's such and such house. But, well, you showing me the house. He said, that's what we did with your money. Bought this house. Then I renovated it. And now it's no longer a dope house. It's a family in there. I was like, damn, that's cool. And he was like, and I can give you your money back. Or we can go get 2 more houses. And that's kind of how, you know, we started New Finish construction back in 2000, I think. 99, 2000, something like that. And you know, we've done probably over 100 houses.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but I then, when the market crashed, I reminded myself I had a day job. I don't have to deal with this shit. And I noticed when the market crashed that the one thing that did not suffer was commercial real estate. Mm-hmm. So I told my uncle, you can keep building these houses if you want to. I'm going commercial. So then he still does his houses, and now I do commercial. Mm-hmm. And I'm interested in more of a like multifamily, mixed-use development strategy.
Yeah, see, some of the things I really love is that you can attack real estate with so many different angles and being creative. What really sparked my interest 2016, my dad had, like your uncle, had been trying to tell me, hey, give me some of your money and let me place it to the side. And I'm like, Dad, man,
Black kids have a real mixed emotion about having parents say, let me hold your money. My mama used to hold my money, I'd never see it again, man. You know what I mean? Man, let me hold it for you. You gonna lose it. And then when I go ask for it, all this groceries I done bought, you go, and see, make me feel bad about asking for my own money and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I understand your apprehension. Mm-hmm. I had similar reservations. But I just went on, gave it to him, and, it turned out to be the right move.
Same thing happened for me, man. I made a $12,000 investment with my dad at the time. He opened up his drawers, and he started showing me the real estate portfolio that he had been building over the years. And my dad isn't like me where you see the jewelry and the loud. Man, he opens up he opens up his file cabinet. This is no bullshit. He opens it up, he goes... Pulls up another drawer. 4 cabinets. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, I own all of these. And I sit back for a minute. I'm like, hold on, Pop. Like, I'm just doing the math. Like, just doing the math. Like, we in North Carolina, and I'm looking at, I'm like, 100,000, 150,000, 100. You just start doing the math. You got a couple hundred properties that, like, you start doing the math. You're like, hold on, Dad, you got a bag. Like, what the like, and that's when I realized.
You're like, damn, I only gave him 12,000.
But what it did is it struck something in me where I understood leveraging real estate beyond just having to have a whole bunch of capital. See, what we started doing was my dad became the bank. What he did is he found these distressed sellers, and then instead of like fixing and flipping them, he became the bank as he did rent to own.
Okay.
So now he's got people that were coming in, and he's now operating as the bank. Instead of them going and getting a loan from Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and then these institutions, he's now holding the notes for all of his properties. One of the most important pieces to that is what? Interest, right? So we got people that are on 5-year balloons or 3 to 5 year balloons, and
the ones that go delinquent, and that's really,
well, when they go delinquent,
you get the house back.
You get the house back, and you made all the money. Yeah. So now this takes you from the traditional,
which nobody wants to see. Nobody wants to see that.
But
nobody
that's
wants
business.
To see people go delinquent. I mean, but yeah, it's business, but it's still like when we take a risk and step out on a limb to try to help someone to acquire a home for themselves, because home ownership is the cornerstone of wealth.
Wealth, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So you want to see somebody take that first step so they can build on top of that. And when that doesn't happen, you're not happy about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Of course you take the money, but you know, but you know what I mean? But you're like, damn, I had like high hopes. I was hoping that you would actually follow through with this.
It's just the beauty of having real assets, right? You know,
Yeah.
you're protected. Your interest is and your asset is
I
protected.
just hate to see it.
We
I
all
really
we all hate when
I
deals
hate to see
don't go according to plan, but
Yeah.
it happens. It's part of
does.
life. I mean, every single day there's somebody that's going to pass away. There's somebody that's going to go through a divorce. There's somebody
This
that's
is
going.
true.
Life just happens. No matter if
This
it's
is true.
losing a house or somebody splitting or whatever it might be, shit happens.
It doesn't
and
make it hurt less.
the-
You know what I mean? The money is cool, but it still hurt a little bit because I believed in you. You know what I'm saying? I thought you was gonna make it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
And
if you
maybe
don't make
will
it-
later. If you don't make it, I keep the money and we'll. You know what I'm saying?
If you don't
You know
make
what I'm
it,
saying? If you don't make it, I keep
it's
the
all
money
good.
and you know, I find a way to get over it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
But yeah, I think that more people like your father. I also know a gentleman by the name of John Hope Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
John Hope Bryant is a mentor of mine. He does what I call boring business.
Right.
You know what I mean? He is probably one of the largest residential home owners in America as a black man. He probably got, I don't know, some thousands
Yeah.
of homes on a rent roll, and he also, you know, for his tenants that I guess that he deems appropriate, he will do like your pops
Rent
do.
to own,
He'll do a rent to own, and you know, and he's put people in houses that came to rent and didn't think they have an opportunity to own.
Mm-hmm.
And he's actually
Help people go into ownership.
worked all the way through every step to get them into home ownership. And that, you know, because that ain't nothing no bank would do for us.
Sure, absolutely.
That
not.
ain't nothing, you know, most white people wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
There's some that will, far and few in between. But for a brother to do that, you know what I mean?
Right.
It just feels special.
Yeah, it sounds like he's very in that same loop of where my father is with ownership. The property gives you the opportunity to do a lot of things, helping people that probably weren't in situations to help themselves
Right.
get closer to ownership, and then obviously like you said, you can build wealth with it. So we know it's important. And I wanted to speak to you about real estate because we got so many people who look at the money that comes into them like it lasts forever. And I'm glad that you said, you used an analogy with your uncle and having that property that you blew the other 40,000. But
I did. I bought some shit I needed, but I blew most of it. You know what I mean? Got me a car, got me an apartment, you know what I mean? Little furniture, some clothes and shit. Most of it, I just, you know, for the most part, I blew it.
What business advice would you give somebody that's new to money? If you had, if like you know, you talking to your boys or your kids or whatever, like, man, they just new to getting this real money. They started making $10 million, $5 million, $10 million. What type of 3 things that you would say you would need to do immediately from what you've learned over the years of experience?
Hold on to your money. Man, all right, well, that's generic, so I don't want to say that. Get you a trust.
Uh-oh, he talking now. All right.
Get you a trust. Own nothing. You know what I mean? Get you a trust. Let your LLCs be participate in the trust, and you
Okay.
be
Okay.
You be an employee of the LLC, pay yourself a salary, pay your children salaries, pay your parent. Like if you anybody you take care of, don't just give people money out your pocket. Pay them a salary. Pay them a salary and write the shit off. Because taxes are important. And people who have more expenses don't pay as many taxes. You show expenses, you pay less taxes. Keep up with your bookkeeping, your accounting. Accounting is important. If you're not gonna do it, hire someone who you can trust to do it. But in order for you to know that you can trust them, you have to know what they're doing, and watch them, and see if they're doing it correctly. So it's gonna take some, man. Having money is hard work.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just get a bunch of money, lay back, and then pretend like there's no more work to be done, because some motherfuckers trying to get at it. Just like you broke right now, and you want to try and find some. When you get yours, motherfuckers be trying to get it from you. So, you better work harder than they do.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? That's, and spend just as much money on investments as you do on liabilities, or should I say, luxuries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just as much jewelry you buy, just as many fancy fly cars you buy, man, make sure you got that much or more in investments somewhere. Because that shit you paying for ain't gonna last you. That shit, you buy a car, drive it off the lot, it's already decreased in value exponentially. Most of the jewelry we buy, now gold is different because it's actually a commodity, and you can actually check how many, you can check the market to how much an ounce of gold costs versus how much gold you have. So that's different. But just going out and just spending money, and everybody's gonna do it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying as much as you do this as well.
All right, that's what's up. I'm gonna wrap up. I got, I guess, one more question for you, and then we're gonna wrap this up. I always ask people about their children and not your actual kids per se, but your art. I know your records have to be babies, so you got give me your babies in order, top 5.
I ain't able. What I will say is I finally have a favorite album. My favorite album is The Libra.
The Libra.
And I tell you why. Because it has my favorite song on it.
What's that?
My favorite song. Finally, after all these years in the business, I finally have a favorite song. Family Connect. Family Connect features my son, Damani, produced by my son, Messiah. That is my favorite song, which makes Libra my favorite album.
Okay.
That's the best I can do.
Still Ain't Forgave Myself is probably one of the hardest joints that
Man, thank you.
I think everybody put me on that song a long time ago.
I appreciate it.
I was wondering what you would rank on your albums, because I know a lot of people.
I just can't do it. I can't. It's like picking a favorite child, just like you suggested. It's hard for me to do it. I can't do it.
And what's the album? Your last album going to be named?
Kill the King.
Kill the King.
Yeah.
Kill the King.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's respect, man. Hey, once again, we got the King in the building, TIP, man. Respect once
Love
again.
and respect, man. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
Thank you for
appreciate you
inviting me
coming
back again.
Hey.
And I think it's important to mention that Kill the King, because a lot of times, a lot of people say this pessimistic, but to me, killing the king is like killing the ego. You dig? I feel like when I call myself the King of the South, that title or that persona, it walked in rooms before I even made it into the room. So people posture themselves and kind of, because they feel like, they need to be a certain way around me. And to be honest with you, I don't give a fuck about that shit. I let motherfuckers know it was okay to say you king. I ain't say I was the only king. You know what I mean?
That shit offended a lot of people.
It did, but fuck them. That mean they had fickle emotions. That mean they like, you know, they were shallow in theory. Like they really their foundation was weak. If they were upset by that, you should never be upset by what someone else thinks of themselves. What the fuck does that have to do with you? What someone else thinks of themselves should have no bearing on how you feel about yourself. It really don't. If somebody was to, you know, come out and, you know, call themselves God of Atlanta or whatever, I don't give a fuck. If that's how you feel, you know, carry that shit on that. And if I was to feel a certain way about that, that'll say a lot about me and what I feel about myself. So, but even still, it was fuck 'em then. It's all peace and love right now. You know what I mean? Like, Kill the King is about killing the ego. Because I've learned that the ego is really is self-destructive. You know what I mean? So, all I want is like peace and prosperity. You know, I want to put out good energy. I want to receive good energy. And I think that killing the persona of king is the first step to getting there.
That's what's up.
Right on.
Looking forward to hearing it too, bro.
Love and respect.
Respect, man. Appreciate you once again, dog.
In a minute.
All right.